Welcome to Beyond the Pulpit, exploring the life and ministry of Walnut Creek Church downtown. This podcast is a ministry of the pastors of Walnut Creek downtown for our members and regular attenders. To learn more, please visit walnutcreekchurch.org/downtown or join us on Sunday mornings at 8, 9:15, or 10:45 a.m. at 323 East Locust Street in downtown Des Moines.
Well, all right. Welcome to Beyond the Pulpit. My name is Derek Wadley, and I'm joined here by Luke Cookie.
Hey guys, how you doing?
I didn't say hi, Luke, yet. You've thrown my whole cadence off. Anyway, we've got two special guests today, Kylee and Brian Etzenhouser. Say hi, Kylee.
Hi, guys.
And Brian, say hi.
Hi.
Great. Now that things are in order, we thought it would be good to do an episode where we introduce you to the staff. We had Cody Smith on a while back, and that was a very well-received episode. And I think it's good for the church to know who is serving them on staff, who's working for them, who's seeking to make our services and our events as excellent as they can be. So welcome, Kylee and Brian, to Beyond the Pulpit.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Yep.
Great.
Don't say too much, Brian.
Brian's not going to say too much.
Trying to save my words.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, how long have y'all been involved with Walnut Creek Church? Kylee?
Oh, man. I started coming in 2014 when I came to college. At that point, the campus fellowship was still at Windsor Heights. Mm-hmm. And then we moved to downtown like 2 years later.
Mm-hmm. So and you were at Drake.
I was at Drake.
Right?
Yep. So pretty much 10 years here at the church.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's great. And so you got plugged in through campus fellowship then at Drake. Where are you from? Where do you come from?
Yes. Originally from just outside of Denver, Colorado. Somehow found Drake as a college, wanted to come here. And
you loved Iowa so much you stayed? It's
just funny to think back on. It was totally the Lord.
Yeah.
Everyone who I tell that to is like, why did you end up in Iowa? But I really did love the pace of life out here. And then once I got connected with the ministry and the church, when I graduated, I was pretty confident that this is where I wanted to stay. Mm-hmm. God had made some pretty clear paths open for me and just wanted to be part of what the church was doing.
Yep.
That's great. Great. Brian, what about you? How'd you get plugged in?
I'm originally from Overland Park in the Kansas City area, and I came similarly to Drake. Mm-hmm. Actually, all my options were in Florida because I love to swim, Colorado because I love to snowboard, and then Drake. So naturally,
neither one of those are an option.
Yeah. And so that was in 2018, and then I got plugged into the church like right away, and then just got progressively more involved through campus fellowship with the church and never looked back. So 6 years.
Great. Cool. Yeah. So how did you come to work at the church then? How did we come to employ you?
Am I going
Brian,
first this
I'm
time?
looking at you, Brian.
Okay. After I graduated, I had been wrestling through whether or not to consider doing the residency with campus fellowship, which is 20 hours a week doing just college ministry, meeting with students, hanging out on campus, and then 20 hours a week doing something else. Mm-hmm. So I kept my marketing internship and then did the residency, and that was super cool. And that's up to a 2-year commitment. Mm-hmm. So after the second year, there was an opportunity for me to go full-time with campus fellowship, which is kind of a misnomer because nobody's full-time with campus fellowship. So I did 30 hours a week with campus fellowship, and then the other 10 hours a week, I'm on the communications team.
Great. Yeah. So what do you do for us on the communications team?
Most of the time, I would say just kind of comedic relief.
I
distract pretty diligently during meetings. But I do social media. So if you like or disdain everything that the church has been putting out on social media, it just kind of runs through me.
Yeah. So let us know.
Yeah.
For real.
We can put my email in the description.
Brian's email. You can also click his picture on our website and email him directly.
Yeah, so that would be great.
That'd be exciting.
Good. I've been hoping for more input. So
great. Good. Kylee, how about you? How'd you get employed by the church?
Similar path through campus fellowship. So I did study graphic design and journalism at Drake. And then when I graduated, also went and did the 2-year campus fellowship residency. And at that point, there wasn't quite as much structure as there is now. So we all got to serve in ways that we were like particularly gifted in. So some people were more administrative and some people were more event oriented. And I just saw lots of needs for design. I was super excited
You don't
about
say. Can't imagine.
Lexi Ruskell, now Anderson, was doing it before me. I was really inspired by her and wanted to do what she had been doing. And I think they rolled out a new brand when I started.
Yeah, that's right.
So I started with Campus Fellowship Design part-time. And then at some point this first summer, I was also doing church design part-time.
Yeah.
I think like 10 hours a week
Something
in the office. So I've been doing design for the church in some capacity since 2018. And then progressively my hours with Campus Fellowship and with the church shifted and then became full-time in 2020.
Yep.
Man, it's hard. I can't even remember that far back.
I know. I'm just trying to remember. There's like the world before COVID and then the world after. And I'm not sure if I remember either of those.
Lots of changes.
There's been a lot of changes. And yeah, so I mean, that's great. You guys have a kind of like pretty unique path to working for the church, going through Campus Fellowship. I think that has been good. Brian, yours is kind of more typical, it seems, with sticking with the residency, and a big part of the residency is serving the church in some capacity and that. So that's been great. I think we had Caleb on a while back and he talked about the residency, right?
Yeah, he talked about the residency and internship. Different kind of categories or job opportunities, I guess.
Yeah.
You could put them responsibilities.
Yep. Yeah.
Because there's campus staff and then residency, internship, right?
Yeah. So the internship would be you work 40 hours a week as a layman.
Yep.
So as an actuary or a pharmacist or whatever. And then it's basically, instead of being in a community group, you're involved in a campus group. So then your primary outreach is the campus. The residency is 20 hours a week for Campus Fellowship, and then field staff is 30 hours a week basically for CF, and then 10 doing something else. And then there's assistant director and director, and then Caleb.
It's cool to see how that's evolved. Not that we're talking so about Campus Fellowship, but from when I was in Campus Fellowship.
You were back in the Alive days.
Well, I was back in the Alive days, and then when you went on staff, that was like nobody really knew what that meant, other than you're raising some support and doing college ministry. To when Kylee, you started, which there's some more organization.
Yes, kind of the beginnings of what it is now.
Yeah, exactly.
Some support raising. Some structure of like what is it that
job
we're doing on
description.
Campus? Yes.
We just made it all up when I was starting,
which is great. That's how it has to start.
Yeah, sometimes
it was fun.
Sometimes it feels like we're still making it up as we go, but we're writing it down along the way, which is different.
It's cool to see the growth and the evolution of Campus Fellowship, and let alone that's the church in general. In a lot of ways, has also evolved in more structure, more clarity, and roles and responsibilities, which has been awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Brian, you said you do social media. Kylee, you're kind of our lead designer, and not kind of, you are the lead designer. You are basically the primary designer of everything. And so, over the years that you've been able to serve, what have been some of the kind of the highlights and some of the joys that come with working for the church and serving the church as an employee? It's open to either of you.
No, the silence is probably because there's so many joys, not because I don't think of any.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Yep. Just remember, we're doing video now, so everyone can see your pondering face.
Oh.
It's kind of intimidating. There's a lot of equipment in here.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it's turned on or what isn't, but this is our second run at this episode, actually, because Kylie's mic was muted and then the rest were turned up. So we're figuring it out.
There we go.
That's right. Always figuring it out. Working for the church is a very unique job. And so there's lots of joys because you get to see in the everyday the stuff that's going on in the church. So I feel like I've gotten to see people's lives a little bit more in that sense. You get to know the different things going on at the church and how all the parts are working together. So I feel like I have a bit of a bird's eye view on the life of the church. That's been really helpful. And it's really just a joy in general to be able to use skills that I like, professional skills learned in college, have developed over time, and use those to serve the church. That's not a very common thing to have a job that is for the church.
Right.
And it can get tricky sometimes because I think people think, oh, that must be how you're really following God because you're like working for the church.
Right.
And that's not true. If you have a job in any other secular setting too, you can still be serving the Lord. But here, I just enjoy kind of seeing what's going on and then being able to see needs that I can fill with the time that I have during the week.
Yeah. I think that I would agree. That's been one of the great joys and being here. And like there are also challenges that kind of come with it and kind of being involved in that. Yeah, you understand maybe a little bit more of like how we just need to be a little bit more deliberate and slow at some of the decision-making process because it does impact things. So having that bird's eye view is probably really helpful. Yeah.
Brian, what about you?
Thank you.
You have so many joys.
So many
you're
joys.
trying to.
Yeah, it's since I've only been on like church staff since July, I had kind of a different view. Like being in campus fellowship for the last couple of years has been really sweet. But I think that both in being in CF staff and then also now, it's cool, kind of like having a look behind the scenes, but also I get to know the other staff and then also the pastors a little bit better, which is sweet. Just like not seeing them. I don't think that anyone really sees the pastors as just like these talking heads on stage, unless they've only come to the church a couple of times. But it's like just like knowing them. So that's cool. With a potential exception of Luke.
Whoa. And knew that was coming.
Yeah, that's right. But I've even put on his good glasses today so that he can be a professional looking.
Well,
he's 4 weeks away from a master's. There's some symmetry going on. That's what glasses, no glasses.
He's been trying to model my goatee, and then he
did
it off already.
I did. Yeah.
I heard you're keeping it for the wedding, though. Is that?
I would love to, but I don't know that would be an option.
You might not get married if you
might not get
married. But yeah, so that's been sweet. And then, kind of similar to Kylee, I think that I just I'm probably more involved in the life of the church as a result of having worked for it, not because I have like super unique opportunities, although sometimes that's true, where like an opportunity to serve comes up and it's just like, oh, well, I'm here, so I can do it. But also I just probably have more knowledge because I think for a lot of people, like they don't know what they aren't willing to like try to find out. So like if you don't try to figure out how to get involved, then you won't know how you can. Whereas for me, like I've had lots of opportunities to do. I really like woodworking and I'm halfway decent at it. So I've had a chance to use some of those things to do things for various church ministries and things like that. So that's been cool.
Yeah. I didn't know you have some woodworking skill.
Yeah, that's one of the ways that Brian is most Christ-like. In his carpenter.
What have you built?
In my life?
I mean for the church. I mean, whatever, I guess. If you want
well, it started with just like helping Greg out with house projects. So he had me reset a mailbox post. And I was like, this is kind of beneath me, but it was just, I think it was just, he wanted to see how I worked, whatever. And then, I worked in cabinetry for a little while before I came.
That's sweet.
And then I helped him build a deck, and then I helped him finish out his basement and trim it out, and then install a window. And now at the fourplex that we built for the missionaries, I installed all of the door stops.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice work.
And then
that's
on
a big deal.
Slightly less impressive note, we've built 2 Murphy beds, and then I did built-in shelves. On the wall all the way from side to side.
That's cool. Because Murphy beds and custom shelves are less impressive than doorstops.
The doorstop. I mean, I'm very proud of the doorstops. But so we've done 2 Murphy beds so far, and then we have 2 more.
Nice.
Yep.
That's cool. Yeah. I had a Murphy bed once. I just never put it together, so it never actually functioned. I got it from somebody, and then actually through Greg. It sat in my room, in our house. And then it just got put in the trash eventually.
Wow.
Yeah. But now you know.
I know if I need a Murphy bed,
call Brian.
Brian's the guy.
Just call me up.
Yeah.
There you go. No, that's great. But I think, so working for the church, sometimes people can look at like church staff as like, oh, well, you are the church and you are in some ways that's good, but like all you do is the church, and that's all you think about. But you guys are whole people. You do things outside of here, and so I think it's good to know that. So like, what's going on in your lives that make you whole people?
That's true. That's been an interesting thing to wrestle with being on staff, especially when I first started. I was really wanting to be intentional about how I think about my job and my membership in the church. So with my job, treat it as a job, be responsible with it, work hard, and do it for the Lord, like we all should do our jobs. But then not consider that as my church involvement. So how do I think about then being part of the church? And somehow try to keep the staff position separate from my personal identity. Just knowing, like, if I don't ever do this at some point in my life, I don't want to have a crisis where I'm like, I'm no longer the church designer. What do I do with myself? And you do something for a certain amount of time, there's going to be grief if that's ever, if that changes. But I try to think about myself as like, how do I serve the church? How am I involved in the church in a way that's different and separate from what I do on staff, and doing that from a heart of not because I am on staff, but because I want to be part of the church. So, well, a lot of my life is revolved around the church. So,
as a member of the church,
as a member of the church, I like to serve in nursery. I like to help with kids club. Those are kind of the ways that I serve in other capacities. Help read scripture. That's always fun. But outside of that, I got married a year and a half ago, March 2023.
Here we go.
So my husband's name is Ricky, and that's been a fun new adventure. We just moved into a house in April, so this whole year has been a season of change. Our first year of marriage was awesome, and we lived in an apartment, few responsibilities. Now we're learning the joys of home ownership.
You got to take a tree out of your yard.
We have to take a tree out of our yard. We're dealing with some unwanted furry friends in our basement.
It's better if you just accept them. Just embrace them.
They'll move out if you embrace them. It's no longer fun.
So that's been fun. That's been a lot of our summer, has been getting the house ready. We did travel a lot this summer. So my husband he was born in Japan and he has family out there. So we got to travel there in June, which was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's a big trip.
Yeah, it was great. And we spend a lot of time with our community group, which we're really thankful for. The friends there and help lead it. So we enjoy that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Yeah. There's some difficulty that comes in like being a member, being a staff member, trying to like iron all of that
the
out.
Blurring of it all. It's hard. I ask myself, what's the difference between being a pastor and a member?
I have
or whatever.
Yet to figure out the difference between being a pastor and staff member, separate from being a pastor and being a member, and all of that.
We've talked about having different hats when we're talking to each other. Right now, I'm talking to you as your pastor. Now I'm talking to you as your boss.
I've thought about creating a custom 4-build hat and just twisting it around, like depending on what mood I'm in, or mode. Mood or mode.
There you go.
Both kind of depend. Brian, are you a whole person? So what's life look like for you outside of your working for the church?
Well, I would say working for the church is all of who I am. No, I feel a similar struggle maybe to Kylee, like especially when you're a recent grad. I don't know if I still qualify, and you work for the church in the campus fellowship capacity. Then, like we've talked about this in the CF sphere, where like you can have a pretty blurry line between like personal life and then work life, because it's like if I live with students and I'm on campus all the time, then it's like where does Brian kind of start and where does Brian the resident end? And I don't think they have to be like that defined. Like I don't need to agree. I don't need to tell students that they're not allowed to access me after 6 o'clock on business days. But so that I think has been good to just like think about and like also to realize that my capacity to serve is not the same as my capacity to work for the church. It's like, no, I would like to serve outside of it. In campus fellowship, you kind of have to get a little more creative with your serving, just because like my time is not like the time that Wednesday nights are not a time that I'm available to serve because that's time for campus or things like that. So thinking about what does it look like. But what was the second part? Like what's going on in my life?
What's going on in your world?
I'm building some Murphy beds.
That's not the most important thing in your life.
That's probably not the most exciting.
It's not the most important thing in my life right now, but October 7th, we're working on Murphy bed number 3.
Oh my gosh.
Great.
Wow.
All right. We're running around, I think. What we're driving at.
I'm engaged.
Nice.
Happily engaged.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a recent engagement, right?
Yeah.
Then last month or so.
Yeah. A little over a month ago, probably.
Do you know how close like when you got engaged, or do you know better how many days until you get married?
I got engaged on August 14th, and I believe, what day of the week is it today?
Monday.
It's a Monday?
I
was actually straight up going to guess Wednesday. That's funny.
That's the blur we're talking about.
No joke. Yeah, that makes sense. We were at church yesterday. So I think that there are, like 71 days until I get married or something like that.
That's great.
Maybe, no,
Are you like the guy you're Xing off the days on the calendar?
Did you make like a paper mache, like the rings, and you tear a ring off every day?
Countdown chain.
Well, I mean, the engagement's like 3.5 months long total. So
that seems like it'd be like a waste of time with everything else you need to plan.
But
there you go.
Yeah, it's more just like a sprint to the finish, so she doesn't have time to change her mind.
There you go. That's good. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
That's what I've found to be successful.
I would also, when you were talking about serving at the nursery or in the kids, that would be just unbearable. I love children, or at least
body has many members.
The essence of children, but I was just not built for that.
That's all right.
Maybe that'll change sometime. Or like I have a niece now; she's cool. But I'm not.
She's cool.
Maybe be first.
There was a difference, when you're your own or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
but great.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, so it is hard when you are like working for the church and you want to be a good member of the church and serve, but you want to like live a life on mission as well. So like, I think you were right. You don't have to have these hard lines that exist between everything. Yep. Certainly it's good to take some time to rest, and it's good to turn your phone off for like an hour a day or something like that. But yeah, so I think you guys have been a good example of living a life on mission and serving the church well in your employment, but also as members in the various capacities. So I've been encouraged by that. And just kind of as we're wrapping up here, there's always a million things going on in the life of the church. It's one reason we have this podcast, is to talk more about the things that are going on. But what are some of the things in your working worlds here at the church that you are excited about coming down the pipeline?
First of all, thank you. Appreciate that. Things coming down the pipeline. Well, we just had a big weekend with our fall series launch. We changed our service times, and we had Movie in the Village on Saturday. So I think we're all kind of like,
just take a breath.
That was a lot. Yeah. Now what's next?
Campus Fellowship also had our midweek kickoff at the church.
Yeah.
Big
Kids Club.
It was funny because someone after church on Sunday, they were asking me, hey, what was going on in the church at Thursday night? Like, there's all these people down here. What was happening? And I was like, kickoff for Campus Fellowship. And so that was the opportunity to talk about Campus Fellowship. But they drove by and they saw, do you guys have a food truck or something?
Yeah, we had 2 food trucks. They probably just saw like 300 college students.
They saw like just a massive,
there.
Yep. So it's cool. A lot happening this past week.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead, Kylie.
No, we made it. It all happened.
Yeah, it did.
So
pretty smooth too. I would say there wasn't I didn't feel like there was ever like a let's put out all these little fires. Moments.
No, it was really fun.
Yeah, I think it went well.
Movie in the Village was, I think, the best one we've done.
I think so too.
Yet.
Parking lot helped.
I was going to say,
parking lot
really nice, full of puddles and mud,
and like nails and shards of glass,
tree roots and stumps and things. Yeah,
right. So coming up next, in my world, we are finishing the visual concept for Romans Part 2. Thinking about how to make it look similar to, but different from Romans Part 1.
Yeah.
How to carry through some of the same themes, design ideas, but also make it make sense with the chapters that we'll be going through. So with this series, we'll do another sermon journal, sermon notes, study guide. We call them so many different things.
We do.
Yeah.
What's the current name for them? Study guide?
Study guides, I think.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I think so.
So I think we have a week to put that together.
Yeah, that's just as we're talking about it now. I'm like, oh yeah, we have to do all of that this week.
Yeah.
So that they're here on time.
Yep. It'll get done.
Yeah.
So that's coming up and that's fun. Something we've been working on in the design world for the church this year, kind of mostly this summer, but kind of in the spring through the summer too, is updating our visual identities. I use that term instead of brand because in design speak, a visual identity is really just what you look like. It's your logo, your colors, your fonts, photos you use, and then the way that all those things are used together. Where your brand involves so many other pieces. It's how the public perceives you and the language you use, everything that
much bigger.
How people perceive you. But the visual identity is just what you look like. And that's what I help with. So we realized that the overall church didn't have a super robust color palette. And so we updated that. Was that this year?
Yeah. That was this year, yeah. Yep. I think we rolled it out soft launch like March-ish, but then kind of over the summer we've kind of executed on it. It's on the website now. It's been on basically everything we've designed that's church-centric since then.
Yes. So that was fun to work on. And then we started working on identities for all our ministries. And honestly, that's a huge way that I am able to and enjoy serving the church. We've been creating toolkits for ministry leaders so that they're able to have things to work with when they create flyers or posters or web graphics or slides for their ministry. Where before, we didn't really know what colors the ministries were supposed to use or if they had a logo or not or what fonts they needed to use. And just deciding those things for them helps all the rest of the decisions go so much smoother. And it's more fun to create when you know what you're working with.
Yeah, you're not trying to create all that on top of creating something else. You already have kind of the guide to give you, here's what you need to work with or the box you need to play in. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, and it opened up
consistency.
It does, and it empowers these different ministries to like actually create for themselves. Because before the toolkits and everything, which have been super helpful, basically everything went through our team. And it's like we had to try and manage and create. And so it's like a season like fall launch, like we just went through, everybody's got a request for everything, which is great. And it's a joy to help get it out. But now it feels less like there's not a bottleneck to it. Yeah, which is really helpful.
There's not so much put on just one person's plate, which particularly is probably your plate.
Primarily Kylie's.
Yes, that's been a huge way we've grown in the last 5 years. Just how our team has shifted. Before, we were doing everything for all the locations. And we've slowly been taking steps to empower the local teams and now empower ministry leaders. So I feel like we're in a much healthier place with our team and other teams feeling like
it's not all living in one place. All the responsibility before was kind of on the shoulders of a few as opposed to more the shoulders of many. So
Yeah. There's still challenges with it, but it's been good to be a part of.
Yeah, it's been a lot better.
I would like to say, you said you're in charge of visual identity and not brand, but if Kylee was the brand of the church, I think we'd all be better for it. The more closely people associated Kylee with Walnut Creek Church downtown,
we do not
I think
that.
would be better. That's how I feel.
I concur.
Yeah, no, it's not the three of us. That's for sure.
Amen.
But
that's too much pressure for one person.
For sure.
The church is the body.
I think we've seen many churches collapse over the years for putting their whole identity on one person.
Because it wasn't Kylee.
Yeah. Well, Brian, what are you working on that you're excited about?
In the campus fellowship realm, we have our fall conference this Friday.
Here we go.
What is that, like the 20th?
I think that's right.
Yeah. Sounds right.
Something like that. Today is the 16th.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Today's 16th.
Yep. So that's big time. That's like we call our fall launch season, the first however many weeks of the school year there are until fall conference. So we just kind of run as fast as we can, as hard as we can until we hit the brick wall of fall conference. And then we try to collect ourselves afterwards.
Yep.
So that'll be sweet. And then on the church side, we're starting to get our feet under us, just as getting like social rhythms and trying to add personality to our socials.
Nice.
So that'll be good, so long as it's not my personality that we add, but some sort of
I saw you
abstract
on socials the other day about the service.
Yeah, I did not expect to be featured on the Walnut Creek socials when I agreed to take this role on.
Oh, you were featured.
That's why we always throw that other duties as assigned.
Exactly.
That's why most employers do that. It's
job description, other
duties as assigned.
Yeah. So
whatever else we want you to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I got.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm planning a wedding.
Yeah. That's a big deal.
Big things.
That's a
I
big
consider
deal.
that part of my role as the communications team.
That's right. Yeah. And this summer we had an intern named Hannah.
Oh,
Yes.
Named Hannah, and that was awesome. It was actually really great. She was super helpful in a lot of ways. She's a senior now at Iowa State in their design program.
when she graduates,
She'll be back.
her desk is still empty.
Her desk is still. We've left it exactly as it is. So Hannah, even on the podcast,
Shout out to Hannah.
shout out to Hannah. But something that she helped work on and that we're kind of taking across the finish line that we want you to know about this weekend is we have some new shirts coming out, some new merchandise that you can purchase. Church merch, which is great. We've got a new T-shirt and a new crew neck. And so we'll have a second new T-shirt, but we finalized some decisions on that just recently. But so that's coming up. And the reason we do this church merch is not because we're looking to start some sort of clothing line or make a bunch of money on it. We don't make money on this at all. But what it's meant to do is create an opportunity for somebody to a lot of times people ask, "Hey, I really like your shirt. Where'd you get it?" It's an opportunity like, "Oh, this is actually from my church." Like,
create a
conversation. And then that's just an easy breach into conversation, an invitation to church, maybe even a gospel conversation. And so that's why we do it. And so we're excited for the new ones to come out. They're real sharp looking. Again, shout out Hannah for doing the heavy lifting on that. And so yeah.
So that's this weekend, you said?
That's this weekend.
Nice.
They'll be available at the Welcome Center.
We go.
I don't remember the prices right now, so we'll
$3.99.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. That's not true.
Bummer.
But yeah, so Kylee, Brian, thanks for joining us here today. If you're listening and or watching this and you see either of them, say hi to them.
Yeah.
Say hi to Kylee. Don't say hi to Brian.
Yes.
Brian's nodding his head or shaking his head, whereas Kylie's nodding. So, But yeah, thanks for being here. It's a joy to have you guys on the team.
Yeah, we appreciate all your work, and it's been fun. Especially Kylee. We've been serving together for a long time, so
That's
it's been
true.
a joy. Brian, we'll find out here in a few more.
Yep. You can take it or leave it.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to Beyond the Pulpit. Walnut Creek Church exists to glorify God by making authentic disciples of Jesus Christ who love and worship Him in all they do. To submit a question to be answered in our next podcast, please visit our website at walnutcreekchurch.org/downtown. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram and sign up for our weekly email updates. And please join us for church on Sunday mornings at 8, 9:15, or 10:45 a.m. at 323 East Locust Street in downtown Des Moines.